everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Nizzy Sports Chat. I am your host, Nizzy, and in this video, you guys, we're going to be talking a little bit about the NFL coaching carousel going on right now. Probably the most shocking news coming out of the media yesterday is Brian Flores is no longer the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. I mean, this was an absolute blindside hit to the entire media as well as all of us fans out here, you guys. I don't think anyone expected Brian Flores to lose his job, especially after the Miami Dolphins started off their season 1-7. And then go on a huge streak, winning 8 of 9 to go 9-8 on their season. One game above 500. I believe they finished 10-6 last year, so back-to-back winning seasons. Ended up spending 3 seasons with the Dolphins. Brian Flores did. He ended up finishing with a record of 24-25. The first season he was there was on a little bit rough. Obviously, they were in the middle of a full rebuild at that point, so you couldn't expect the guy to be, taking his team to the playoffs or having a winning record in the first season there. But overall record, 24-25, isn't too shabby at all. Definitely one of the better head coaches in the league, in my opinion. That Miami Dolphins defense was outstanding all season. The way he was able to, get the guys to rally around Tua the second half of that season and climb back into the playoff race. I mean, they just missed the playoffs by an inch, man. It was real close for them. So to me, this is just a big-time shock that they decided to fire him. Apparently, there were some disagreements between Brian Flores and the GM of the organization there. Apparently, back during the season as well, it was more Brian Flores, by the sounds of it, that was trying to push for Deshaun Watson, whereas the GM and the owner of the Dolphins kind of like Tua more so. So you can see the disagreements and the little bit of butting heads with management there seems to be why they decided to move on from Brian Flores, which is kind of shocking still, just because he is that good of a coach. I mean, it's hard to find good coaching, man, in the best league there out there for football. And when you got a good one, just to let him go like that because you got some disagreements going on is just, we'll have to see how it plays out for Miami, man. But I think this is going to come back to haunt them in the future here. I think he's, like I said, I think he's the top head coaching candidate now heading into this offseason. I don't think there's a better coach out there on the market right now than Brian Flores. Obviously, there's some other coaches that got fired already. You lost Vic Fangio down in Denver. I don't think he's going to get another head coaching job. I think he's going to probably get a defensive coordinator job. That's what he's the best at anyway. So that's where I expect him to go. Mike Zimmer's probably getting another head coaching job, I would assume. I think he's a pretty good head coach as well. I just think his time came to an end there in Minnesota. I'd be shocked if Nagy gets another head coaching job. He'll probably get a coordinator job or something like that somewhere else. So yeah, you guys, we'll have to see what happens here, but I just thought it'd be fun to come out with a little video discussing which NFL team should hire Brian Flores. There's obviously a few teams that have lost their coaches. The Raiders are also on the list, having lost John Gruden earlier in the season. Obviously, he's basically been kicked out of the league. So yeah, you guys, we'll just go through some of the teams here and why I think Brian Flores would be a good fit for each of these teams. Right, real quick, before we start breaking down this video, if you can go ahead and like this video. If you like sporting content like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more sporting content like this in the near future. I've been getting a lot of support on the channel lately, you guys, and I greatly appreciate it. We're going to keep coming out with as much content as possible for you guys. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start breaking down which NFL teams should hire Brian Flores coming into this offseason here. We'll start off with one team that's in the playoffs right now, and that's the Las Vegas Raiders, I should say, not the Oakland Raiders anymore. I think this would be a great fit for him, to be honest. He would get his best quarterback that he's ever had as a head coach. I think Derek Carr is a phenomenal quarterback. I think he could do wonders to that already pretty decent Raiders defense. So I think he'd be a great fit with the Vegas Raiders. We'll have to see what happens, though, because Rich Bisaccia, the interim head coach that replaced John Gruden, has done a phenomenal job as well. So depending on how the Raiders are kind of feeling out the situation, they might decide to stick with him. I think if Rich Bisaccia takes this Raiders team on a run in the playoffs and they win a couple playoff games here, I think you almost got to stick with him as your head coach because he's done a great job getting them this far. It hasn't been easy on the Raiders this season. They've just been in shambles inside that organization. And he's been able to kind of stabilize. Obviously, Derek Carr is a huge reason that they were able to stabilize things as well because Derek Carr is just such a phenomenal leader. But I think Rich definitely deserves an opportunity here if they can go on a little run. But I think Brian Flores would be a great candidate for the Raiders. I think him and Derek Carr would work wonders together, and I think that defense would take another step forward as well. Having Brian Flores as the main guy there. So that's the first team that I think that he would go to. That's probably one of the better options for Brian Flores as well, just because they got the better quarterback situation. Next team I got on the list, you guys, is the Denver Broncos. This one might be a hesitant one for him to want to take. I think he's going to really get more of a choice on where he wants to go more so than just taking whatever job's available. I think there's going to be multiple teams calling Brian Flores. I think the Broncos are a decent fit as well. They got a top-end defense. They got pieces all over the place to go on a championship run. The only thing the Broncos need desperately is a big-time quarterback. And that's maybe the one thing that Brian Flores will deter him from wanting to go to Denver, just because he doesn't want to have to deal with a great team with a bad quarterback. Kind of like what he's dealing with in Miami, which Tua is not terrible, but he's not no Patty Mahomes or Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow or Aaron Rodgers. That's just another tier. So I think with that being the case with the Broncos, maybe if they can somehow swing a big-time trade to get Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson or something like that in the offseason, maybe that entices him. But I got a feeling if the Broncos weren't making a move on something like that quickly, I think Brian Flores is going to be coaching, having a new head coaching job sooner than later. I really don't think he's going to be on the open market for that long unless he chooses to be on the open market that long. But then again, you don't want to wait too long as a head coach for a head coaching position, because then if you wait too long, you might have other teams just fill the need because they want to get a head coach in sooner than later. So I think the Broncos would be a decent fit. Like I said, I just don't know if he'd be willing to go there because of their quarterback situation, but it is a possibility for sure. And then we got the Chicago Bears. There's already been reports that the Bears are planning on having him in for an interview. I think this will be his best fit next to the Raiders, you guys, because they do have a good up-and-coming young quarterback in Justin Fields, who had a kind of an up-and-down season, but he wasn't really in a stable organization. Matt Nagy's coaching and the schemes they were running was just all over the place. Obviously bringing in Andy Dalton to a weird contract when you already had Nick Foles in there at the backup slot, and then just running through each three of the quarterbacks all started this season. So it was just a up and down all over the place a year for the Bears. They cleaned house, obviously getting rid of Matt Nagy as well as their GM. So this is going to be a great opportunity for a fresh start for Brian Flores with a team that's looking to basically start on a full rebuild here and just start from the top down and get their management right, get their coaching right, and in turn that will help this Chicago Bears team to move forward in a positive direction. I think he would be a great fit with the Bears organization. I definitely don't want him to go to the Bears because I'm a Packer fan. I'd fucking hate to have to play Brian Flores' team twice a season. But at the end of the day, he is a great coach, and I think he would be a great fit for the Bears. They already have a good defense as well. Obviously, he's a defensive-minded head coach. I think he could do wonders to that defense. I think he could really help Justin Fields along as well. And I think Justin Fields got a little bit more upside to him maybe than Tua does right now. So I think that would be a great fit for him as well. And then the last team I got on the list here, you guys, is the Minnesota Vikings. I'd be shocked if he went to this one too, just because of their quarterback situation. I don't think Kirk Cousins is terrible by any means. I think he's definitely an above average quarterback in this league. I'd put Kirk Cousins kind of in that same realm, right around the Dak Prescott type players, Matt Ryan's. Not the top tier quarterback, but just one tier below in my opinion. I think Kirk Cousins is a pretty good quarterback overall. I think they're just a couple pieces away, to be honest. I think they just need a couple pieces on that defensive line for the Vikings. Obviously, Everson Griffin's been up and down. Dealing with his mental health issues, so he hasn't been available all the time. Daniil Hunters, who's outstanding player, has not been available. He's been injured so much the last couple of years. So I think if the Vikings can fix up that defensive front a little bit, and add a couple more pieces to that offensive line around Kirk Cousins there, I think they could have a really nice team. And they cleaned house as well, obviously getting rid of their GM and head coach Mike Zimmer. So I really think that could be a good option for Brian Flores as well. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens, you guys. I think he has the ball in his court right now. I think he's going to be able to pick and choose which team he wants to go to, because I think all these teams got him at the top of their lists. There's some other guys in conversation right now, Doug Peterson. I guess the Jags, too. I completely forgot about that opportunity, you guys, but that could be a big one, too. He could possibly want to go to the Jaguars, obviously, with Trevor Lawrence there. Their defense was showing some promise throughout this season. They just need a little bit of an upgrade to that offensive line, get a couple more playmakers in the wide receiver room for Trevor Lawrence there, stack up that defensive side of the ball a little bit with some playmakers, and they could be a really good team too. So there's definitely lots of options out there for him. Personally, I'd love to see Brian Flores go to the Raiders. I think he'd be a great fit with the Raiders, as well as I think they got the best quarterback on the list here of places to go. That's, at least Derek Carr's already a veteran quarterback. He's still in the prime of his career right now. And he wants to take that next step forward and try and make it to a Super Bowl here, I'm sure. So I think that'd be the best fit, personally, in my opinion. What do you guys think, though, Mel? What do you think? What team do you think would fit Brian Flores best heading into the offseason here? Which team do you think is going to take a shot at this guy and hire him as the next head coach? Like I said, we'd love your guys' opinion in the comment section down below. And that pretty much wraps it up for this video, you guys. Just thought I'd come out with a quick one here talking about which team should go and pursue Brian Flores here heading into the offseason. So thanks again for watching this video, guys. Please go ahead and like this video if you like sporting content like this. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more sporting content like this in the near future. Thanks again so much for watching, you guys, and this is Nizzy with Nizzy Sports Chat.